over those 68 missing votes. We're going to go back now to Nasrec. Our Francis Hurd is standing by. Francis, good afternoon to you. Any more on that meeting over those missing votes?
No, this is just a big question mark hanging over Nasrec at the moment. Where are those 68 votes? And what happened? So just to give you the background, Natasha, there were more than 5,000 delegates meant to come to this conference. Of course, there were a few court cases, and some of those delegates were told that they could not come. Their credentials were revoked. So there was quite a delay in the beginning when the party went through a credentials process. Some issues there, but what emerged was that there was 4,776 delegates who were given credentials to vote. Now, when the results came out last night, it seemed like a done deal, but everybody's now asking, if you look at each and every vote, 4,708 delegates voted. That means 68 delegates were missing in action. So the question is, did they not pitch up to vote? Did they go to bed? Was there some sort of problem around those 68? And this is hugely important for the Cyril Ramaphosa camp, because their preferred candidate for Secretary General thought he had it in the bag. He was actually the front runner, but when the results came out by a very small margin, I'm getting mixed up, Ace Magashule, not Paul Mashatile, Ace Magashule, the Premier of the Free State, took it. Now, this is where it's material, because way less than 68 votes. So the Cyril Ramaphosa camp will be pushing for a recount, and we're not sure if they will get that recount or not. But this is about the composition of the top six and whether there can be a team that can work together. Right now, we have two camps basically split down the middle, and these two camps are diametrically opposed. So it would change things quite significantly, because the Secretary General is a powerful post in the party. So if Senzo Mngunu comes in, somebody who is preferred by Cyril Ramaphosa, somebody who's firmly in that camp, then you take away some of the division, given that Ace Magashule is there and he's firmly in the Sdumo Dlamini Zuma camp. So that is the big question hanging over Nasrec right now. Of course, voting also happening for the National Executive Committee, the bigger body that is the most powerful body in the party between these conferences, the largest decision-making body of the ANC. Now, earlier, we'll get some analysis from Nasrec shortly, but let's just listen into this. My colleague Ayanda Mhlobo spoke to Sdumo Dlamini, the COSATU's president, and of course COSATU interested in the outcome of these polls of the top six of the NEC as well. Let's take a listen to that earlier interview.
We are now looking forward to the resolutions that are going to be discussed by delegates here, in particular to change the current economic situation in our country, where unemployment, poverty, inequality are at the highest in this country, historical proportions. The country's economy is downgraded. We have to have those resolutions that are going to take us forward. And without considering that the radical socio-economic transformation is the way forward, anything you can do will be meaningless. We have to tinker the current patterns of ownership in this country in favor of the majority of this country in all the sectors of the economy. Mining in particular, the transformation there is critical. The land, very, very critical. The financial sector is monopolized by an oligarchy of white males in this country. We've got to change that. We've got to go there.
You spoke about the policies of the ANC, and obviously this conference is very important moving forward, that it formulates a program for the new leadership moving forward as well as government. But some of the policies that we here discussed come from, if we look back at the 2012 conference in Mangaung, and the concern has always been on the implementation of the ANC's policies.
I've always argued no policy is good when it cannot be implemented. So we always say the ANC has good policy. Yes, it's true. But as long as you fail to implement the policies, they are not good. You have got to review them. And we're coming from an angle that say, once you change your mindset and say it has got to be radical socio-economic transformation and drum that in our heads and not just sugarcoat it. When you're talking NHI, add radical economic transformation. When you're talking land restoration or restitution, put that element of radicalism in it. When you're talking the transformation of the mining sector and all the sectors of our economy, start with, is it going to be radical? Because the reason we've stagnated and forgot, and we're now reminded by the masses that things are not good, is because we forgot that it has got to be radical. The economy of this country was sold out many, many years ago, unwittingly, through compromises because we wanted to avoid a war situation, through negotiations because we wanted to pull everybody together. But you were dealing with people who had already an agenda to maintain and keep the status quo that has been for 350 years intact. We've got to disrupt that. So it's going to be an up-tempo going forward. And the leadership coming out of this conference has got to understand that.
There was Sdumo Dlamini from COSATU talking about ANC preferred policies when it comes to the perspective of Labour. Let's get some